Hello, my name is Hector Velazquez and welcome to another episode of GCSAA Inside the Shop. Now, if you have a lift in your shop, you know how convenient it is to be able to perform your task efficiently and more safely. Now, today we're going to be talking about some of the other responsibilities that we have as lift owners. Or if you have a lift in your shop, you want to make sure that your lift is working the way it's supposed to and it's safe, because after all, your life depends on it. Now, what we have here is a Tryon lift, which is manufactured by Turf Pride. And with us, we have the owner of Turf Pride. Now, let's introduce our guest, because we have a lot to cover.
My name is Don Cotton, owner-president of Turf Pride USA. We are located in South Alabama. We manufacture turf equipment, primarily used by the turf grass professionals. We distribute around the world to the end user and also through a dealer network. Good to be with you.
Now, Don, for those shops that don't have a lift, why should they consider one?
Equipment lifts are one of the most important tools that any shop could have. Safety obviously is the number one issue with any type of equipment lift. Get the technician off of the floor. I mean, let's start with the basic safety. Down on your knees, rolling under a piece of equipment, but investing in a good quality equipment lift has been designed to lift turf equipment. It's absolutely the most safest way to maintain the turf equipment.
Don, what are some steps I can take to make sure I get long life from my lift and for myself, actually?
Inspecting it, it's something really you need to do pretty regularly. If you're underneath the lift and it's up in the raised position, now you're seeing the bulk of the cabling system or the chain system or the hydraulic is fully extended. So look for any frayed cables, look for any hydraulic leaks, and then go ahead and make preparations to repair those if needed. And then, by all means, at least an annual inspection. I think most lift manufacturers would provide you with a checkoff list to check your lift on an annual basis, and probably wouldn't be a bad idea to have a third party to come in and inspect your lift. I know some facilities require that. If you have a two-post lift, there are going to be two sets of safety latches. You need to be certain that you hear those latches catching as that equipment is raised off the ground before you ever get underneath to begin working on it.
You know, sometimes we forget that our lift is just like any other piece of equipment. It requires routine maintenance and inspection. Thank you for that, Don. Also, that third party idea, really great idea. Nothing like a third set of eyes to make sure that your lift is up to par. If you don't know anybody in your local area that does this type of work, check with your local automotive dealers or an automotive shop that has a lift. They'll know exactly who to put you in touch with. And a Google search also helps. Now, Don, one thing I kept hearing from you is you kept referring to this, or the Tryon lift is called a turf lift. What makes the Tryon lift a turf lift from any other lift?
Turf equipment lifts came about actually probably 40 some odd years ago with the development of the Tryon lift by Mr. John Beatty out of Colorado. John worked for the Toro Company. They saw a need to have some type of equipment lift, primarily golf courses. That was their number one customer base. They developed two-post lift, specially designed to deal with an unbalanced piece of turf equipment. Turf equipment is lifted by its tires and wheels. Some equipment may have an out front mower deck on it, so a lot of the weight is out front. So John developed the lift so that if a piece of equipment is not properly balanced, the Tryon won't pick it up. That's safety. It will not allow the operator to raise that piece of equipment and then get underneath it if it's not properly balanced.
Okay, so we got our lift inspected. We're ready to rock. We're going to bring an equipment in. Now, before we raise this piece of equipment, because the equipment is being raised on its tires, you want to make sure that the tires have the proper PSI. This one looks good, but as you can see, as we plug in our pressure gauge, it's reading 8.6 PSI. It's supposed to be at 20. So this could have been a really bad situation. You just make sure you check all your tires. We're going to install our forks. We're just about ready. And I like to just go around the lift real quick make sure there's nothing in the way, especially my cats. But we want to make sure that we're ready to go, and now we're ready to raise our piece of equipment. And now we know that we are safe being underneath this piece of equipment. I want to thank you, Don, for really helping us out with this. Definitely an important topic that we all need to make sure we keep at the top of our minds. I want to thank you for joining us here today on GCSAA Inside the Shop, where we're helping technicians one wrench at a time.